Maybe it's a good thing we never got Super Mario 128 for real. How do you go from a 3D Earthbound to a Game Boy Advance game? And would the Wii be better with a heartbeat monitor on it for exercise and horror games? Man, that thing was ugly. Nintendo is the most creative in the business, we already know. But how did they have the foresight to scrap a Zelda game or two, while also knowing that centering a Mario game around his ability to turn into an elephant is gonna be a hit? I mean, really, who's getting invited to these focus groups? As a YouTuber, I'm already knowing. Sometimes good ideas get scrapped for reasons that are beyond your control, whether that's a lack of resources, a lack of interest from consumers, or everybody not being on board with the idea. I mean, even like a major world event can make you scrap an idea. I don't even know, it could be anything for real. But as they say, hindsight is always 20/20. And today we're gonna look at some scrap Nintendo ideas and judge them based off of how much of a missed opportunity they were, or judge them based off of how much we would have hated them. And sometimes that's the reason why Nintendo scraps an idea. But hey, what's up everybody? It's the Bread Show. You know what I'm saying? We back with another video, just like I told you, we be back next week too. But today, we're gonna be talking about some scrap Nintendo ideas. I mean, come on now. We've all had some good ideas, bad ideas that just got scrapped in the creative design process. But at the end of the day, isn't that what the design process is for? Isn't that why we spend so much time in the design process as opposed to manufacturing or fabricating the idea? So let's not be too hard on Nintendo, you know what I'm saying? Let's just hope that they revisit some of these scrapped ideas. But yeah, like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you are the first to know when I drop a video, you know what I'm saying? And also let me know in the comments, how do y'all feel about these ideas? Like which ones do you think actually was a mistake to scrap and would have worked? Because some of these ain't that bad. Project H.A.M.M.E.R. You probably don't even know what Project H.A.M.M.E.R is. You know why? Because it's a scrapped idea. It was which fits the video. It was a game announced for the Wii at E3 in 2006. Now this was different than any other Nintendo game and any other Nintendo's scrap project, because this was a more adult themed game. Not like that, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Aimed at teens, aimed at adults. It was more gory. You know what I'm saying? It was darker. It was a darker story. Yes, what you're seeing right now was supposed to be a Nintendo game through and through. It's a dark toned action adventure beat 'em up game. I mean, how many action adventure beat 'em up games in general has Nintendo made, let alone an adult themed one? Again, not like that. It was about a cyborg called M9, and it was set in a dystopian US that was taken over by robots. And like the title said, the main weapon was a hammer. And in video games, hammers go really well with destructive environments. This would have been a banger for sure. The only thing that y'all might not have liked was the fact that the hammer was controlled by motion controls. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was the Wii, so we have to make room for some of these things, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't gonna be straight up, it was you had to get the motion controls in there. I mean, we still got motion controls to this day in some of Nintendo's best games. I'm looking at you, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. You know what I'm saying? We got people racing in Mario Kart with motion controls, but we won't even speak on that. We not even gonna talk about those people. So yeah, that was Project H.A.M.M.E.R, an adult-themed action-adventure beat-em-up game set in the dystopian US. What else is new with Nintendo? I mean, this game was scrapped though, let's be honest. I don't know why they scrapped it. Maybe they scrapped it because whatever. What I do know is that Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, which is different from, you know, the people at Nintendo, but still, I would assume he has a pretty big voice in that building. Around this time in 2006, there were some, you know, sound bites, some things that he was saying about the way Mario specifically was portrayed to the audience. He didn't like the fact that Mario was portrayed specifically to kids. You know what I'm saying? He wanted Mario to be for everybody and not just for kids. And there were things that he was gonna do to kind of pull back on some of the kiddie references that was in the Mario games. Like one thing, for example, was taking away the peace sign that he always did, in which they actually did. And they brought back the peace sign in Super Mario Odyssey, but there was a point where Mario stopped doing that. I guess only kids do the peace signs, and little did he know nowadays, everybody throw that up. In every picture, everybody throw that up. But there were even rumors of Mario being featured in a Playboy magazine, but I'm not even gonna pass it off as, I'm just gonna say, while researching for this video, I did see that. Now I didn't confirm it because I didn't want to go down the Mario Playboy rabbit hole. But for anybody who did, you know what I'm saying, let us know in the comments. You know, I'd love to hear it. So yeah, at some point, some big talking heads at Nintendo were interested in going an adult kind of route, and they ended up doing that with Project H.A.M.M.E.R, but that they ended up not doing it because a year later, the game just basically got nixed. They quietly put it away. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if Nintendo's ever going to go on in this direction again of making like an adult themed type of thing. But from the way it's looking with the Super Mario movie out and with the state of Mario and all the other games that we have coming from Nintendo, Luigi's Mansion, I don't think that they're going to scratch that itch anytime soon. But, you know, anything can happen. Anything. I'm sitting here hoping for Earthbound 3 or Mother 4. I mean, whatever. On to the next topic. You know how everybody loved Super Mario 64? How about you double it and give it to the next person? You know what I'm saying? Super Mario 128. This was a real project that was supposed to happen. It was announced for the GameCube at, what was it called? Space World 2000? That's what they were calling tech demos before E3 came around. RIP to E3. Super Mario 128 would have been Shigeru Miyamoto, like I said before, the creator of Mario. This would have been his last directed Mario game, if it happened. But at the end of the day, it didn't. And the last official Mario game that he directed was Super Mario 64. Nowadays, he's a creative supervisor. You know what I'm saying? He's a producer. Still a big name, just not directing it. But he was supposed to direct Super Mario 128, the GameCube version of Super Mario 64 that was going to be an improvement on Super Mario 64 in every way possible. If you go back and play Super Mario 64 right now, I say this all the time, it won't be like you remember it. The game is a lot more empty. You know what I'm saying? The trees are a lot more, you know, polyagonal. I think that's the word for it. And yeah, it was all bread and butter. You could only use Mario and you couldn't ride Yoshi. For Super Mario 128, it was not going to be like that at all. 4-player couch co-op with Mario, Peach, you know, the usual 4. Mario, Peach, Luigi, and Toad. And this time, have Yoshi rideable in the games. But for some reason, this game was scrapped. Some people suspect that it was because of Ocarina of Time's development time, which forced this game to be pushed back a little bit. Who knows? This game was just scrapped at the end of the day. It wasn't totally scrapped because some of the ideas from it were brought into later, much later Mario games. Like, for example, Super Mario 3D World had the 4-player co-op that Super Mario 128 was supposed to have. And then there's other aspects of Super Mario 128 that was maybe seen in Super Mario Galaxy or even Pikmin. So technically, the spirit of Super Mario 128 lives on. But outside of that, not much. And that idea was totally nixed. That sounds like it would have been a good idea because all the ideas that made up that idea worked in later games. But we'll never know what Super Mario 128 even is. It wouldn't have made sense because putting the number 64 in the title, it didn't make sense. You're just alluding to the number of bits that are in it. I don't even know what a bit is. I know what a byte is. I don't know what a bit is. And I don't know if they were calling it Super Mario 128 because there was 128 bits or just because they thought that multiplying the number by 2 made sense. Because if that's the case, where's the Xbox 720? Am I right? And the next thing that Nintendo scrapped, sticking with the late 2000s, early 2010s, was the heartbeat monitor, otherwise known as the vitality monitor. I mean, using the word vitality makes it seem like it was some RPG extension, but no, this was a real thing that they wanted to make, a vitality monitor. It looks like something that comes out of the ER, like something for real. You stick your finger in there and it reads your heartbeat. And that was supposed to be for horror games, you know, exercise games. Maybe Dead Space would have been good at using it. Maybe a Call of Duty, who knows? But it was announced to a humiliating silence at E3 in 2009. So that should stay, that should state why it was pulled back a little bit, or pulled back a lot. But at the end of the day, Nintendo gets real creative with their ideas. You know what I'm saying? They get crazy sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, they made an elephant power-up in Mario and it worked. But this one didn't. Like, imagine you playing Call of Duty or Dead Space something. You got your finger in the heartbeat monitor, pause, and then, you know what I'm saying, you move and boom, your character just flatline out of nowhere. Now, this heartbeat monitor came in the middle of Nintendo's, you know, Apple version of the active lifestyle type thing that they were trying to do with their technology. You know how Apple does with the Apple Watch, telling you when to breathe, when to be mindful, you know what I'm saying, trying to improve health. Nintendo was trying to do that back then with the Wii Fit, with the Wii, and with this heartbeat monitor thing. This project keep getting delayed because they wanted to specifically appeal to 99% of total audience, which I guess meant everybody in the world using a Wii already. Yeah, they wanted to attract 99% of those people, regardless of any biological differences. You know what I'm saying? So they was looking out for the people with heart problems or people who, I don't know, had big fingers, fat fingers, I don't know. But after testing, Nintendo said that this product only had 90% effectiveness, which wasn't up to Nintendo standards. You know, they gave themselves like a backwards compliment. But Nintendo's not cool with 9 out of 10 dentists approving. You looking at you, Colgate. And while researching for this product, I actually found something. In 2014, no, I shouldn't say that. While researching for this product, I found something else that was interesting. Nintendo's president, Satoru Iwata, actually announced a 10-year quality of life plan that Nintendo was looking to delve into. They announced this in 2014, which means the last year of that quality of life plan would have actually ended this year in 2024. And they kind of, you know, stuck with it because they do have motion controls in a lot of the Nintendo Switch games, even though people don't really use them or like them. They still came out with stuff for like the Wii Fit, you know what I'm saying? They supported that for a while. But a year after this was canceled, they announced the sleep monitor, which was supposed to track body signals while sleeping. That was the next big thing that was called back. And I guess they're trying to do that with Pokemon Sleep. We haven't heard much about Pokemon Sleep. Maybe that's gonna be on the Nintendo's best scrapped ideas too. But yeah, the vitality sensor and the heartbeat monitor and, well, no, those are the two of the same things. But the vitality sensor and the sleep sensor thing were both canceled. And I guess so was the quality of life plan. And if you haven't noticed already, announcing something and then completely nixing it has been a recurring theme of this video, of the scrap video ideas. And Earthbound 64 is no exception to this. Earthbound 64 was supposed to be the sequel to Earthbound, the SNES classic that came out in the West, and Mother 2, which was out in Japan. Now, y'all know I'm good at finding reasons to talk about Earthbound for some reason, but this one is good. This was probably the biggest scrapped idea I could find from Nintendo. Just because of the fact that Earthbound was such a hit, and then you hear nothing about it outside of Super Smash Bros. Shigesato Itoi created the Earthbound series, and now he doesn't do anything with games, and that's probably why we haven't seen Earthbound since. But he's always had some pretty big ideas for his game, and apparently his ideas were too big for the Nintendo 64. But for Earthbound 64, he wanted to feature Lucas, who you might remember from Super Smash Bros., in episodic type adventures that focus on each character in Earthbound 64. And each episode was gonna focus on a character, kind of like how they did in Earthbound, where sometimes you would spend some time with Paula or sometimes you would spend some time with Pooh, but I guess it was just more expanded. And what I'm guessing was gonna be a longer game in 3D, mind you, in 3D, but also to Nintendo's standards. So that would have been, yeah, that would have been pretty high stuff. And I couldn't imagine that the world was going to be too full of a whole bunch of NPCs and stuff, which is what made Earthbound good. If you look back at Super Mario 64, you'll see that the world was pretty empty. There was only a few trees, you know what I'm saying, a lot of polygons. It wasn't exactly as put together as some of the old, you know, Marios that we've seen in the 2D spaces that were more just perfected. And if you played Earthbound, then you would see, okay, this game was obviously perfected and thought about completely every piece of it. And they just wouldn't have been able to do that with the Nintendo 64 at that time. So it's safe to say they had problems implementing his vision, implementing Shigesato Itoi's vision in the Nintendo 64 3D element space. And like we discussed last week, the PlayStation was already out at this time, and it was way better than anything technologically that the N64 had. And to combat that, Nintendo came out with the N64 DD. Double D attached. They made a double D attachment for the Nintendo 64 that was gonna improve it technologically, but it failed in the market. Nobody was going to buy that. Nobody was going to buy an attachment to make their home console better. So that made it even harder for Earthbound 64 to get off the ground. So what they did is nixed Earthbound 64 and just converted all of the ideas and everything to Mother 3. So Mother 3 is exactly what Earthbound 64 was supposed to be. It's just on the Game Boy Advance, rather than on the Nintendo 64. And Mother 3 only came out in Japan for a lot of reasons that people could, you could speculate on, because maybe because the Western release of Earthbound wasn't that good initially. I mean, now it's a cult classic, but it wasn't that good initially. And when Mother 3 came out for the GBA, it came out for the GBA in 2006, and by that time the Nintendo DS was right around the corner. It was a late GBA release, probably because they spent so much time with Earthbound 64. And now Mother 3 is not localized in the West. Earthbound 64 no longer exists, and if you speak English, the only way you can play Mother 3 is by downloading a fan-made ROM of the game that translated it for English. And that was the last new thing that Nintendo ever tried with Earthbound. Now, like I said before, Shigetato Itoi doesn't do anything with games anymore, but maybe this kind of caused burnout for him. This is just me speculating, but maybe certain situations like a scrapped game can cause burnout, and then you just drop something that you previously loved. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it before, and hopefully we can get something with Earthbound. I mean, something. At this point, it's probably not, but at this point, some people thought that Metroid was dead. They brought that back, so I have at least a little hope for Earthbound. They keep bringing back in Smash, so you know what I'm saying. Sky's the limit. But yeah, y'all, that's the video. You know what I'm saying? That's just all the scrap Nintendo ideas. You know what I'm saying? Some of them were good, some of them were bad. Some of them were good, like the Earthbound 64. Some of them were bad, like the heartbeat sensor for the Wii. I mean, if they made it like a wrist thing, that would have made more sense, but putting your finger in a Wii controller, it didn't fit. You know what I'm saying? This didn't fit vibes. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, who am I? But let me know what y'all thought about Project Hammer, about an adult Nintendo game with blood in it, and like, man, the way Nintendo was supposed to go, it's the way things are meant to go, and then the way things end up can be crazy contrast sometimes. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for staying this long. If you stay this long, you are likely to watch all my other videos, you know, and like all my other videos. You know what I'm saying? You just are. They're just like this. So yeah, check out the Bread Show. You know what I'm saying? We got some things going up. We got some things coming up. You know what I'm saying? At the time of recording this, I got this SpongeBob trivia stream scheduled, so hop into the streams. You know what I'm saying? Do all that stuff. Watch the VODs. Have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. I got a lot in this passion project called the Bread Show. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Please like the video. If you like the video, please comment, subscribe, all that. Hit the notification bell. If what do I normally say? Oh yeah, spread love, give inspiration in all you do, and peace out.
Welcome to the Bread Show. Take 2.